It's unclear as to the exact number, since the initial surge of personnel entered Minnesota following, resulting in the death of Renee Nicole Good. In Minneapolis, the Department of Homeland Security has ramped up their presence within Minnesota by the thousands. These operations
So
are.
this is not the Senate meeting, by the way.
I was told to get here.
No, I thought you were just wanting to speak to the committee members before we actually start.
Never, keep the papers. I'll talk to you guys later.
Why am I gonna watch?
I want to.
I was gonna see those piece of paper. I might listen to you.
This is or that? Okay.
And I was like.
We could pick out. Yeah. I'm happy to listen to the Senate meeting.
Because a different.
I guess the dining service.
Yeah, the dining services have the normal space and the library.
I got my car.
Oh, this is a tripping hazard.
I was told I was giving this speech 2 hours before.
Should have waited. Yes.
Wait, another question.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm not supposed to, like.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Oh, never do.
I think it stopped.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I went all the way around or.
We didn't point our game.
I was actually going to go into my lunch picnic. So, don't look at mine, it's like. Because I got because I. And so. I was like, I hate this.
Excited to hear the rest of your speech.
Way too long.
What's going on? I think they shot.
You did stop.
Oh.
I was up there.
I was trying to write on it.
I did know that.
Is he?
That's what it is. That's what it
Was it good for?
I'm trying.
I realized. Just show the.
Yeah, thanks to magic.
I'm up close.
I'm
not a
Rebecca had a crazier. Yesterday.
Y'all got quiet.
Yeah, I was gonna say. January 14, 2026. This meeting is being conducted in person in CSU 245. It is currently 12:06 p.m. and I call this meeting in order. We will begin with our land recognition statement. We will go to acknowledge just like we live, work, and learn in the homeland of the Lakota people, whose language brings our institution's name, the Minnesota State University, and Yale. We will begin with our roll call. Alvar. Senator Hyder. Here. Senator Caldwell. Senator Dingley.
Here.
Senator Reyes.
Here.
Senator Bartlett.
Here.
Senator Wynn.
Oh.
Senator Anderson.
Here.
Senator Zellner.
Present.
Senator Cummings.
Present.
Senator Hyde.
Present.
Senator Hildegard.
Here.
Senator Isaac. Senator Canower.
Here.
Senator Johnson.
Here.
Senator Stokes.
Present.
Senator Hillstead.
Present.
Senator Lu. Senator Frost.
Here.
Senator Wickersham.
Here.
Senator Ray.
Here.
Vice President. President Orange.
Present.
And Secretary as well. We move forward with our consent agenda. Is there any amendments or dissents to the consent agenda? All those in favor for the consent agenda, please raise their placards. All those who disagree, please vote. Doing this, with simple and clear majority, consent agenda is possible. We will begin with our open forum. Is there anyone here today for open forum? Yes. Please.
Okay, let's try this one more time.
While he's walking to the podium, if I may, just remind anybody who is here for open forum or speaking today, the mic is hot, it's ready to go, and given the size of the room and the fact that we're broadcasting online, please use that.
Okay, onward. Good evening. My name is Jonathan Fitzgerald. I'm a sophomore at this university, and additionally, I'm the co-chair of legislative affairs. I'm also the head of the Federal Response Task Force and hold executive positions within several other registered student organizations and community organizations. I'm appearing here today in my position as task force head. Last night, I convened an emergency meeting of our staff to formulate a plan to respond to increasing ICE operations in and around Mankato. While it is unclear to the exact number, since the initial surge of personnel entered Minnesota resulting in the death of Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis, the Department of Homeland Security has ramped up their presence within Minnesota by the thousands. These operations are not limited to the Twin Cities. In downtown Mankato, ICE has already been seen operating in force, including stepping out of their cars and with no warning, pepper spraying people, then driving off. These are individuals in unmarked vehicles, armed to the teeth, wearing masks, and showing an indifference to use of force protocol when engaging with anyone, including legal US citizens. Our students are a target, not just international, but domestic as well. ICE's operations within our community have created a culture of fear, uncertainty, and division, not just in the city or county, but our campus as well. Your constituents need a Senate and student government which is capable of standing up to federal overreach and unlawful violence where it can. I have passed out a sheet before you detailing what we can do right now to protect our students from harmful ICE practices. What I need most to stress is the passing of a resolution which condemns these practices. My task force, along with the Legislative Affairs Committee, are stifled and unable to act until the Senate passes a resolution establishing a stance on this issue. We'll be working on said resolution and getting it to the floor as soon as is possible. What I need from you is to vote in favor of passing it. Should this effort fail, I remind all of you that you are letting your constituents down. This is still a democratic body and you are still beholden to the wills of the people. Right now, the people are demanding a firm, swift, and effective response to violence within their communities. We are far from helpless. With this resolution being a top priority, I must also bring attention to our most vital secondary issues. Specifically that of increased awareness of student rights to the creation and distribution of both physical and print medias, along with a set-in-stone ICE policy, which must be created by student government and binding to its subordinate institutions. Specifically that of the Residence Hall Association. Now, before I yield to questions, I would like to have, I'd like to have Bob just speak on some events which happened Wednesday, right? Wednesday in Mankato.
Wednesday last week was the Renee Good.
Can't hear you.
Wednesday last week was Renee Good. 2 days ago on Monday afternoon, the first day of school this semester, I had finished work and I was on my way to my side job, the Eagles Club in Old Town Mankato. I pulled over outside of a gas station, as I often do, near the coffee hay. And as I pulled into my typical parking spot, I saw the uniformed feds milling around the vehicle and then running into their vehicle and then driving away from whatever the situation was on the wrong side of the street. I got in my car. I did not go into the gas station. I walked in the direction of what I feared had happened. I found a human being, a young woman, crouched on the ground in agony. I have never seen such pain on a human face in my life, and I have seen a lot. She was strong and brave, and I remain 48 hours later in awe of this person and their courage and humanity. I sat with this human being and poured water over their face for an hour to give them comfort until they were able to open their eyes. She was much better by the time I finally left, and she had a ride home. And I knew I was not going to make it to work that night. I instead attended the city council hearing at the Civic Center that night. And I'm quoted in yesterday's Free Press, and I think it's important to say this. I think it's important to give her as much credit as possible, and it is important that we stand as human beings You may or may not agree with me, but I believe we are created, and it is important to show respect for the Creator, whether that be a God or whether that be a benevolent evolution. We are made to do the right things as human beings. I spoke at the city council and said, beyond the pain and horror on her face, hers is the face of America. And we need to know this. We need to carry this. We need to stand up, and we need to do the right things as human beings so that we can get us back as people. Thank you for doing this.
I would like to yield the floor to questions.
Do we have any questions? Any questions or comments? Yes, Senator Bergeron?
Once this resolution that you mentioned is passed, what would the Federal Response Task Force be doing?
That will be heard at a future meeting. The topic of our current flow of things is assuming that nothing will happen in this body. So all we have right now is contingencies. As soon as you guys empower us to actually begin working here, then we will begin looking to the future.
Thank you. Senator Bergeron?
When might we be able to see the resolution hit the Senate floor, pending having two senators author and second it?
Assuming everything goes as we're expecting it to go, you might be expecting it as soon as next week.
Thank you. Senator Leader?
Will the task force be comprised entirely of students, or will staff and faculty also make up part of the task force?
If staff and faculty would like to begin attending our task force meetings, they are allowed to, but they will not have voting power.
Thank you. Senator Stokes?
The aforementioned published materials about rights and ICE, how will these be provided, and do you have any materials already selected?
I do not have anything currently selected. We have distributed things in the past from other organizations such as COPAL and Unidos. We would want to be doing either those exact same things, which can be limited to business cards, flyers, or literally a social media post. Or we can create our own. It's just those resources would likely be less accurate and less trusted. When it comes to distributing these resources, we would likely want to be working with a different committee in tandem to just either get these printed out, get these ordered, or just request more information from these outside groups, and then get them distributed among campus.
Thank you. Senator Zena?
Would this task force be acting as like an RSO, or is it gonna be a non-recognized group of students? How would that?
If you read the very, very last piece of text on the sheet that I gave you, it already describes what the task force is. It is not a theoretical issue. We already exist and we are already working within student government. Anything else?
Any questions or comments? Senator Moon, thank you so much for your time. Please take the background as well. Anyone else here?
Hello, everybody. My name is Camille Huck. I'm a professor of history here at MSU Mankato. I'd like to thank those two gentlemen for their statements, and I completely agree with everything said. I want to point out that one of the people who was assaulted at that incident is an MSU alum. So these are our students that have already been assaulted. We need to take this absolutely seriously. The other thing I wanted to point out to you is that on either January 26th or January 27th, there's some disagreement between calendars. There's going to be a Department of Homeland Security recruitment event on our campus. It's actually the Customs and Border Patrol, which is sort of the sister agency to ICE, will be recruiting on our campus. I personally think this is both a awful thing and a dangerous thing. It has the potential for people to be very, very angry at this event. And I would recommend that the student government use their informal power to pass the word on to the administration that this event should be canceled. Thank you, everybody.
Do we have any eligible for?
Hello, so I'm just here on behalf of Mavericks for Change to kind of clarify what you guys could be expecting here in the future, because our resolution to condemn retrenchment is on the agenda today. I'm going to come forward and offer my initial introduction to this resolution, get you refreshed on exactly what compelled us to write it and why you should vote for it. And I brought in two professors to give testimony and a presentation on sort of the hard evidence that we have for a lot of the stipulations of that resolution. So if, I'm just asking for the opportunity to yield the floor to me and to them so that we can get the full proper case for this resolution put in front of student government and we can oversee its passage. Second thing, I kind of want to reiterate what Jamil just said. I understand that when it comes to recruitment events and things of that nature, you wouldn't expect these people to behave belligerently or otherwise. But the fact of the matter is, Customs and Border Patrol right now is active in Minneapolis, tear gassing random American citizens, packing them up in cars and driving them to who knows where. And that is outside of their jurisdiction to begin with. They operate in a 100-mile zone off the border, and Minneapolis is not in that zone. So, well, there is an ongoing case as to the constitutional validity of what's happening with ICE and with Customs and Border Patrol. I think we should consider their presence on campus as a career fair or otherwise to be an open-ended threat to the students who are here. I don't trust their presence formally or otherwise anywhere near the people who I come to learn with in our classrooms. So that is all. I'm also open to questions.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? Thank you so much for that. Do we have any more open forums? We move forward with our dinner today. Okay, is Jennifer Best. Please invite her to the background.
Hi, thank you for inviting me to speak with you today. I'm always happy to join student government, and in fact, I often ask for the first meeting to kick off the semester because, as you know, I really appreciate the work that you're doing here and the seriousness and attention that you give to the work that you do as student government. The topics that are on your agenda just prove that today. I urge you all to ask for help if what's happening in the world right now is weighing on you. It's certainly weighing on me, and I'm struggling to figure out how to put that into words. So I don't think that I'm going to be very eloquent about this today, and for that I apologize. I do want to let you all know that the Kearney International Center Global Education Unit is working with international students to keep them informed about what's happening, resources that are available to them, things like pieces of identification that they should have on them. They are developing a list of resources that are available to students, both the kind of ordinary things that we think about all the time and other resources that might not be on top of mind. For example, they learned about a ride share that would be available to students who don't feel comfortable getting on the public buses, for example. But the one thing that we do want to remind everyone is that switching courses to online delivery mode is not an option. It is not in the international students' best interest. It puts their visas at risk. It threatens the institution's status with the Department of Homeland Security. So we understand if students are struggling with their safety, we urge them to work with their international advisor, work with their instructor, but we're asking faculty not to just put your courses online, because that could create more problems than it's solving. There's a town hall for international students next week, so that would be another place for you and your constituents to learn more information and to have an opportunity to ask questions. You should be aware that President Inch sent out a message to the entire campus last week. There was a message that went out to faculty and staff through our intranet on the 27th of December, and then I believe it went out again, or it's scheduled to go out again soon. So, I mean, it's a lot. I just ask you to please take care of yourself. We're kicking off a spring semester. Please do your best to focus on your studies. Know that we are happy that you chose Minnesota State Mankato. We want you here, and we want to help you do your best as you make progress towards your degrees.
Do you have any questions for the update? Yes, Senator.
Thank you for coming and speaking today. As the newly appointed academic affairs coordinator, one of the things that I wanted to put onto my agenda for the next committee meeting was to have them do a dive into the university policy and processes that relate to course modality and who approves the method of instruction across each academic college in different classes. And after doing some research into it myself, I couldn't find any specific university policy that outlines what is the method that classes get approved. So I was wondering if you could speak to that.
You sent me an email yesterday, didn't you? I'm so sorry. I did read it, but I was in meetings and didn't get a chance to give it the response at the time it needed. So you're absolutely right. There is no university policy defining or that, like the delivery mode. So like, let me correct that. Let me back up because I misstated that. There's a system-wide policy that defines what the course delivery modes are. I even put together a little flow chart to help people because it doesn't always make sense. But basically, you know, there's a bunch of numbers and then there's characteristics that go along with those numbers. So for example, blended hybrid. The definition of blended hybrid says 25 to 75% of the course must be in person and then the remainder can be online, that kind of thing. For our campus though, we do not have a policy that defines that, and decisions about delivery mode are made by the department when they build their schedule, and it is approved by the dean when the dean approves the schedule. So that is essentially the answer to your question. Those decisions are made by the faculty and the dean.
Senator Johnson, Oliver, Senator.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually don't have a question. I just wanted to thank you again for including me and therefore student voices in crafting a university AI policy that we all certainly needed, and I believe is going to be reviewed hopefully.
Academic honesty policy.
Yeah, adding it the AI to the.
There we go. Okay. For clarification, for those of you who might not know, this year, the academic honesty policy is up for revision. You get an email from me at the beginning of the fall semester letting you suggest things to be reviewed. We ask student government for reps on those. And so you helped me revise the academic honesty, and we specifically included issues related to AI. I do want to clarify something else as well. This is why I kind of panicked for a second. The university has made a decision for now that we are not going to have a standalone AI policy. We are viewing AI as a tool, kind of like Excel, for example. We don't make decisions of policies about Excel, but we do make policies about how tools are used in a variety of ways. So AI is being incorporated where it makes sense, like academic honesty, I'm assuming under the data governance, and different places. That is the approach that we've chosen to take for now. The president has just announced this week that there's going to be an institutional AI task force. And that group is going to look at operational actions and decisions. So there may be changes in the future. So I just want to say that right now, we will not have a standalone policy, but I do appreciate the feedback, and it was a pleasure to work with you. I am great. I run great meetings. They start with music. I encourage you to sign up next year when we do more policies revisions. President Colleran helped me last year revise the grade appeals policy. So next year, I hope to see some of you helping me out as well.
Thank you so much. Senator,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So hearing that there is no university policy governing the approval of the course method of instruction, is it your belief that having such a policy might benefit people who are in departments where courses are being switched to online? As earlier you spoke about, trying to keep courses from going that direction. Would that be a potential solution to this issue?
Yes and no. Faculty are not supposed to change the delivery mode from what is published on the schedule without authorization. They're supposed to let their dean know, and in certain cases, for example, if a change is made after the schedule is published, but before classes begin, that comes to me. And we look at a variety of factors as to how disruptive it will be on students before approving a change in delivery mode. So I think that there are supports in place that should accommodate it. A policy could put additional weight behind that. But sometimes the changes that I think are bringing up your concern happen like individually. Someone just decides, I'm gonna support my students and I think the way to do that is online. I've had a family emergency, I need to put my course online for a little while. There's a lot of reasons why that happens. Sometimes we know about it, sometimes we don't. When we do, we have a conversation with the instructor. But I can certainly bring that up because there are a lot of things about academic curriculum development for sure, which is where I spend most of my time. And courses and teaching and stuff that is based on lore, based on tradition that could certainly be cleaned up and documented. Yeah, so that's a great suggestion.
thank you. Senator Anderson.
I don't know if this sort of surrounds the topic, but like, I know for an aviation class, I've been addressed a couple of times by fellow aviation students about a class called Aviation Management taken from, I forgot a professor's name, but she commutes from the cities, but has quote unquote told her class like, yeah, when the weather gets bad, you're gonna see me doing more Zoom calls. And the class is fully advertised as in person on campus. And I've known a lot of people struggle with the Zoom calls, struggle with learning on those Zoom calls. And so I will get to the people who have addressed these concerns with me to figure out who and contact you separately about it. But I just have like heard about that. And I just want to know if that's like allowed in the policy when you advertise your classes on campus.
Again, it's not supposed to unless there are extenuating circumstances. And I would hope that they have brought this to the dean and let their dean know. If you or your friends or your classmates have concerns about this happening, the best thing you can do would be send an email to the dean of the college and they'll look into it. When we know about it, we do look into it. The problem is we often just don't know about it. What we hear is kind of what I'm hearing right now, which is someone I know. And we rarely hear directly from the students involved. And I understand why that is as well. There's a power dynamic at play where you are in a situation with someone who's gonna assign a grade to you and you don't want to do anything that would potentially lead to retaliation. Again, if you contact the dean will protect you in your identity. The dean will make sure that retaliation isn't gonna happen, and they will come work with the faculty member on some sort of resolution.
Thank you so much. Senator Lurch.
Thank you. One last question I had, was about the, institutional task force that you mentioned, about AI that the president is convening. Will there be student representatives in this task force? Are you able to answer this?
I feel certain, but I'm gonna just say 99% certain right now, because I haven't seen the charge. But we do have an institutional policy about recognition of student government. So whenever there are these kinds of big things that happen that affect the student experience, we send out an invitation to student government for a representative. I see no reason why that would not happen here. But since I haven't seen the charge, I can't be 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Also, a policy written by a student senator. Come on, folks, you can do this. Get involved in policy. I'm coming after you next year for helping with this one. No, I'm serious about some curriculum stuff. I think you're gonna be great at it.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions or comments for the day today? Alright, seeing none. Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you all. Have a great semester.
We now move forward with our officer reports. First of all, I'd like to invite our president, Lauren, for his report.
Perfect. Those work? Okay. Thank you, Speaker Thapa. First off, I just want to say thank you to y'all and just our community. Like as articulated in open forum and across this week and in the past week as well, these are very trying times. But I know through these times, very trying times, that as a community for MSU Mankato, and also as a community of student government, we continue to help each other out and just continue providing supporting arm for everything. And as a leaders organization, I really appreciate that and really appreciate just all this positive energy growth flowing into a time that could be feel negative and can feel depressing or downgrading. So because of how trying these times are, I work very hard to listen to y'all and to see what we do to help all these trying times go from there. On top of doing all the things we do on a day-to-day, especially going into a already intense and already busy semester. So I'll be more than happy to keep you updated along the rest of the cabinet for what's happening next week as well. So I'll dive into the other like operating daily things, operating procedures. So like I just know this is always on my mind. I will try to start thinking about it. So I'll dive into the things on the agenda. So first off is the budget meeting. This semester we're going to have budget season. And as a accounting major, that's probably my favorite part of this position and this role. So you'll enjoy it with me or maybe not, we'll see. And we'll see how it goes. The biggest thing I want to announce right now is mark your calendar for March 25th. That is when we're going to have the budget meeting, and when we're going to look over two of the biggest fees within our review process, which is that the athletic fee and student activity fee. So just mark your calendar for that. I'll have more details as the semester goes on, but just be well aware that it's expected for you to mark your entire day off for that. So there is cases where it could go to 4 hours or it could go to 10. So we'll see how it goes. Second thing is we have new activity from the student government office. If you're able to stop by the office between last semester and the current semester, there's some new activity and some new renovations in there. So I would definitely recommend stopping by. And also in going to the semester and looking at my schedule, I'll be a lot more active in the student government office and also be active in there after 7 meetings. So if you want to join me and just as I converse and also interact with each other after 7 meetings, I'm more than happy to interact with you in the student government office as well. This we have more connection points, more abilities to connect with each other. And finally, we do have meeting for coming up pretty soon. Last semester it was the first Thursday of every month. This semester is the last Thursday of every month. So I believe for this month it is roughly around, I want to say, yeah, it's January 29th. After sessions with the VP of Student Affairs, we are now allowed to bring additional senators to meet and converse. So if you have any interest in having more in-depth conversations with student government and the administration of MSU Mankato, don't be afraid to message me or the rest of the cabinet and get added to meeting for teams and have a more active conversation with our administration. So I think that's all my report. I'll be happy to answer questions.
What time are you projecting you're gonna start the budget meeting on the 25th of March?
If I can say,
So like what time is it gonna start? Because like I know last year we started it at 3 p.m. So
after conversation with the cabinet, I believe this decision came across was noon, but I'll have to confirm with the cabinet to make sure that's the case.
Senator Canaro, followed by Senator Cummings.
What time is meeting for that? Are they still at 11?
Yeah, so I believe they are 11:30 to 1 p.m. on Thursdays.
This can be a later issue too, but if the budget meeting does start at noon, will we be able to get like an excuse letter per class?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
Any more questions? Is there a list of?
Since it starts at noon, I'm sure it's gonna go through dinner time. Is there gonna be a recess for dinner?
Yes, and prior budget means there has to be recess for meals and typically pizza is provided. Those details have been fleshed out by the cabinet yet, but please be aware that we are still planning to have a recess midway through the budget meeting.
Any more questions? Alright, seeing none,
Oh, no, I was putting my pocket down like that.
seeing none, we move forward with Vice President Updates Officer.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the semester, and it's not a welcome back that I was expecting to give you guys. I was probably planning on giving some jokes, but not the time. And in light of like a heartbreaking and tragedy that has happened past week for a really long time, in presence of different federal agents, we do understand that all of our students are scared, angry, and there's a deep sense of helplessness among them. And even their loved ones in your community, and we do understand that. Last week, a woman lost her life, and she's not the only one. Let's remember that, and my heart goes out to all those innocent people who have lost their lives. Their family and the community impacted by that. And we recognize as students who are now being asked to navigate incredibly complex situations. There's a lot of emotional and personal burden for you, and as student government, we are here for you. We're here and you're not alone. Earlier today, we sent an all-student email outlining the services and resources that is available in this campus. That email was drafted a couple of days ago, and along with that, we also plan on doing Instagram series, which started today. So in that series, what we're planning on doing is we want to go to each office that provides services. So you might already have seen a video that has been posted today around. The time probably around 2 p.m. With JC Farai, who is the director of KIC. We will have different videos coming up throughout this week. We'll have Paulina, who is assistant director of KIC, then this counseling center, then the student government, then is Vice President of DI, Dr. Henry Morris, and we will also probably have a video with Dean of Public Education. So throughout those videos, we talk about the services that we provide. So if you see those videos, comment to your Instagram, please share it. Please send it to people who might need it and let them know that they're not alone. Furthermore, student government, along with KIC, ISA, and campus administrators are jointly organizing an international student forum next Wednesday. This is primarily focused on international students because they're really scared, and we wanted them to have a platform where they can talk about it. But if there's somebody from your different family who wants to talk about it, please, they're free to come in there as well. That event will be next Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. on southeast side of the library, I believe. Southwest, sorry. Southwest side of the library, we will have Director of KIC, Dean of Education, President Inch, Provost Hood, myself, President Warren, and President and Vice President from ISA, I believe. So please, if you guys have any questions, if you want to stop me, please do. And let students around you know that they are not alone, and we're here to provide all the help. And please ask them to utilize that help. With that, this is a very sad time, and we do get that we are here to support all the students. It is not just a certain group of people who are scared, a lot of them are disappointed, a lot of them are scared, including ourselves. So please, if there is somebody who needs to talk, we are always there for you, and not just us, everyone around this room is there for you. So whoever you're comfortable with, go and talk to them, and if you need time off, talk to us, and we will be more than happy to do that. Furthermore, with other updates that we got over winter break from Student Health Service, so there was an email that was sent to me, and I'd just like to read that for you guys. Student insurance covers the first $100 towards an eye exam. For international students who have asked where to go, the front office typically recommends iMart Express, Walmart, as they often offer exams around the cost and have ongoing specials. And the Director of Student Health Service, Antonia, will also be coming and speaking as speaker on one of these weeks this month or next month. So if you guys have any more questions on that, please feel free to ask her. And regarding the dining contract, companies have already, been able to come here and give one presentation. I will do presentations today and, add classes on during the presentation. So Senator Hiluka went there instead of me, and I really like to thank him for that. And in one of the presentations, Senator Stokes went to place of that is important because he had a pass as well. So I really like to thank all the senators who are stepping up and helping us as well because, unfortunately, we cannot be there every time, and I am very on campus these days. So, thank you so much, everybody who's been helping me with everything. And I think that is pretty much everything that I have to provide you guys today. And for questions, yes.
Are we guaranteed to be getting a new dining provider, or could we just go back to Sodexo?
There are different companies here, but I am not allowed to name the companies right now, but there might be Sodexo or there might be other companies as well.
Oh, so Sodexo is not like a guaranteed to just be out?
No, whoever is selected will be the one for the next 10 years, I believe.
Any more questions? Alright, seeing none. We move forward with my officer report. There's been few things that I'd like to talk about. First of all, operating procedure. I think that this has been in the talks for a long time now. Believe me, it is going on. With the current standing, we anticipate it to be presented in front of the Senate in between January 28th to February 4th, taking into account that we need to add operating procedures for budget season as well, which would make it very easier for everybody to have a grasp of what is necessary and what is not. We are planning to have it available to everybody to go through as early as January 28th, which gives ample time for each and every senator to go through all of it so that we can vote on. Apart from that, we also happen to see there is about 9 vacant spots in Senate as well as of now. I'd like to request each and every one of you to give a word of mouth to every one of your colleagues and friends and anyone that is willing to represent the students here at Minnesota State University Mankato, and to fill up this spot as soon as possible, as Senate vacancy cutoff is from February 25th. The reason that we have this cutoff is after this period of time, it will be a little difficult for any new upcoming senators to grasp the idea of budget season and how it works and all that stuff. With that, I don't really have anything else to say. Oh yeah, our university is representing, some of our esports players are representing our university to a Colorado land, which happens in 2 days. So I guess that's one good news for today. I'm open to questions. Any questions? All right, seeing no questions, we move forward with vacancy. I will be announcing all the vacancy spots that we have. I do not believe we have any candidates today, but just for reference, I just name all the vacancy spots that we have. First of all, we have 3 spots for Senator College of Allied Health and Nursing. We have 1 spot for Senator College of Business. We have 1 spot for Senator College of Education, and the vacancy opens only after 21st January. We have 2 spots for Senator for off-campus. The vacancy still opens only after 21st January, and we have 1 spot for Senator College of Humanities and Social Science. With that being said, we move forward with our new business, which is student government website, and I'd like to invite President Gordon to give you on.
Okay, hello again, everyone. Okay, so good news is I got a new computer over Christmas. So we're gonna find out if it is faster and more effective than last semester. Let's see. So yeah, so I know it's a little harder to use than CSU 238 for presentations, but behind some of y'all is a new student website that we have. So really the priority that we have with student government is transparency and really good communication. So all last semester, I worked with the CS department to create a new student government website that is able to operate and give really good information on what student government is doing across the semester. So it has really good functions, including telling what student government is, giving attorney services, providing all the events that we're doing across the organization through a ever-evolving calendar, and provide resources, and also giving more information through archives. I also recognize as senators, there's also some applications that affect y'all in your daily operations. The biggest application I want to let y'all know of is logging senator hours. So as a senator, one of your requirements is to do senator hours, 6 hours every 2 weeks. We're transitioning from going from Excel spreadsheets to second hours to this website configuration. Make sure it's more clear communication and a little more ease of use, and you're able to have more information on what you're doing for office hours. So with that, you're able to log into this platform and give it your information. And once you do, you're able to click this top right portion here named called dashboard and go into this area over here for log hours. So this is the log hours page. I will say I'll give all the information also on the Senate Teams and get new announcements as well for link and login information, so you're good to go on this. But I just want to give a quick overview just to make sure it's on everyone's radar, especially when we're going into the semester. And a lot of people have already started the senator hours, even though it's the first week. So this is the page for logging your hours for everything, and you're able to look over it and just do it like a regular timetable, where you're able to start and end for your quote unquote shift of being a senator and doing your activities as with your office hours. So you're able to add a segment over here and just start and end it whenever you're able to do the hours. Again, we are doing along with student government and setting your Senate agreement. We're doing a 2-week cycle where every 2 weeks is 6 hours. We are, just because of timing and the way the website is coded, we're on paper, we're halfway through a 2-week cycle. So right now we'll do 3 weeks for this week, and we'll reset the cycle next week on next Wednesday, and then we should be good to go for that 2-week cycle. So I just wanted to let y'all know that was happening, and I'll create quotes there tonight on the Senate Teams, and I'll bring all the information again and making sure we're good to go on that. And that's everything I have for this agenda item, and I'll yield to questions.
Yeah, any questions? Yes, Senator Doolittle?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was just wondering, who all has access to the hours on the tracker?
That will be all people who have the administrator role, which would be the cabinet members.
Any other questions? I don't see any questions. We move forward with old business. And our old business is retrenchment resolution. For any of our new members in the gallery, we will begin by just presenting the resolution first. We will move forward with discussion after that, and then follow that up with any amendments or vote. So, others and senators, please, if you want to present the resolution.
Okay, so we have here the resolution to condemn retrenchment. Most of you will remember this from before break. And I would just like to clarify that in the committee meeting today, what was shown was an amended resolution compared to what's in the Teams. And I apologize, I forgot to mention that. A very, very small very small amendment process, compared to the one in the Teams. The biggest change is that there's just more polish to the new one, the new resolution, and that the 7th whereas clause that is present in the one currently in Teams is not present in the resolution that was presented during the committee meeting. But overall, very minor changes. I apologize for not bringing that up during the committee meeting, but just very small. This bill, this resolution, excuse me, works to condemn the decision by administrators to retrench 7 tenured professors of the university and cut 86 academic programs without implementing a hiring freeze and not having adequate consultation with the student body, while also going against the due process of the Minnesota State University Faculties Association and their collective bargaining agreement with the university. And I'll read out the be it resolved portions in full, because those are obviously extremely important. So the first be it resolved, the 93rd student government condemns this administration's decision to entrench tenured faculty without reasonable budgetary, disciplinary, or qualified citation. Second be it resolved, the 93rd student government denounced this administration's marketized, financialized, and speculative decision-making, which threatens Minnesota State University Mankato diverse and affordable health programs. The third be it resolved, the 93rd student government urges the administration of Minnesota State University Mankato to rescind the entrenchment of all 7 implicated professors and reconsider the prior suspension of academic programs. And the fourth and final be it resolved, the 93rd student government urges the administration of Minnesota State University Mankato to negotiate with the Minnesota State University Faculty Association according to due process procedures regarding entrenchment and termination throughout the future. I think this is an extremely important piece of legislation, and it's been great to work with Senator Johnson on this. He's been very good at articulating things, and I really appreciate that. And I think it's important to be able to support our faculty and be able to ensure that the quality of education is not diminished at Mankato. So.
And I just have one thing to add, that hopefully gives comfort as you're thinking about how you're going to vote after we hear more information and suggestions for amendments. It also speaks to the degree of respect that we each are indeed shown by administration. I had the opportunity, the honor, is probably a better word for it, to attend the last meeting confer last semester in December. And I used the opportunity that I was given to directly tell Provost Hood and President Inch that the student body condemns retrenchment. I also made clear, and they listened with respect. It was a really great experience. And I also assured them that what the student body condemns is this thing, the current retrenchment, the actions. But we come with respect for the human beings who make difficult decisions.
Thanks so much. Senator Johnson and Senator Frost, you do have an option to yield some time to the gathering if you wish to.
I'd like to yield for the hour.
And here would just wish you would begin.
So, as was mentioned earlier, eventually I'm going to yield the floor to Professor Cooley or whoever has the authority to do that. And she's going to bring forward her presentation, which describes at full length exactly what was wrong with the retrenchments which were made and the dangerous precedent that they represent for the student body and for faculty going forward. I'm just going to reintroduce this legislation to you, what compelled us to write it, what should compel you to pass it, and sort of the frustrations that we all have with this particular retrenchment process. Today, the Senate will hear the testimonies of our professors impacted by retrenchment and review the empirically negative impact which this administration's decision-making has brought against our fellow students. We will observe the university's dramatic heel turn from practical, budget-informed, and considerate policy to profit-motivated, marketized, and speculative austerity, not simply from students' perspectives, but publicly available fiscal data and official correspondences between administration and staff. Alongside Professors Jill Cooley and Dan Cron Mills, I will present for you a solid case, not simply to acknowledge the troubling precedent before us, but to condemn it and demand a path forward which keeps our administration accountable to staff and students. Before that, we must consider the circumstances which compelled my organization to draft and advocate this legislation and hundreds of our peers to petition its passage. Last summer, our administration announced the merging and suspension of 86 academic programs and hundreds of certifications. Overnight, humanities students of various topics were deprived their choice to pursue Bachelor of Arts degrees, and language courses became useless to the completion of our academic tracks. Those seeking associate's degrees lost swaths of certifications to pursue specialized careers, and women's social justice courses became inaccessible for those interested in diversifying their education. This decision alone was not simply unprecedented, but broadly considered harsh, shocking, and overcorrective for a simple budgetary shortfall. Moreover, the announcement that the 7 tenured professors would be retrenched came without any concerted effort to forewarn students and faculty, nor legitimate interest in preserving those programs impacted by a staffing shortage. Because of the haste, ignorance, and incompetence of this decision, Latin American history, public administration, astronomy, and American Indigenous studies now face an existential shortage of instructors and are consequently slated for suspension next year. Civil engineering students face overcrowded classrooms and overworked professors whose collective burden makes personal instruction impossible for a rigorous and difficult course. This enrollment-based retrenchment method employed by our administration has caused a recursive loop of program cancellations and dwindling quality. As the teachers union has repeatedly emphasized, these retrenchments made last year were not intended to balance the budget and indeed had no immediate fiscal justification. President Edward Inch acknowledges this directly in his rebuttal of their filed grievance and instead cites a speculative budget for the following fiscal year, declaring these retrenchments anticipatory rather than necessary. This is unprecedented for our university and carries dangerous implications for tenure. If the university is permitted to speculate budgets coinciding with their agenda, carrying serious immediate consequences for tenured faculty, then the survival of low enrollment programs is not dependent upon the budget, rather the whims of an administration currently unresponsive to student needs or desires. This precedent would be devastating. While our humanities students navigate increasingly complex graduation pathways, our professors desperately market their programs, and retention staff must negotiate for their careers. The Future State Initiative promises a $60 million investment into sports facilities and a Ferris wheel. Though externally funded, this bizarre, brutally out-of-touch marketing stunt concisely demonstrates that the hardships felt amongst our students and staff was not a budgetary necessity, but an ideological reprioritization. The university would no longer carry a reputation for diverse, affordable programs, but new facilities and an emphasis upon generals with utter disregard for niche academic specialties. In my conversations with fellow students, this was the most frustrating, damning testament to this administration's unresponsive leadership. So frequently, the provost has cited the students for these unpopular decisions, despite his inaccessibility to them and contradictory policies to their interests. Today, granted the evidence will provide, I am asking the representatives of this body to definitively record our stance, that these decisions are not acceptable or even tolerable, but utterly condemnable. This university cannot continue merging programs, cutting professors, and decreasing its educational capacities because a rampant administration has chosen a strictly marketized and profit-oriented approach to the courses we offer. We're a public university beholden not to shareholders or CEOs, but the desires and aspirations of our students across a diversity of affordable and prestigious programs. If you share the same respect for your peers which compelled us to advocate for this resolution, I hope you will be convinced to vote for its passage. Thank you.
Are there any votes on the motion? Yes. Yes, Senator.
I'd like to yield to the others in the gallery.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Let's see. Is this the share code up here in the corner
Yes.
for PowerPoint? Okay, let me just get my PowerPoint up real quick. It's kind of a occupational hazard that I need to have a PowerPoint for everything, so. Is it working? Try again. Says sharing is not turned on.
Is there a possibility we can continue this without a presentation?
We can.
Is there an HDMI output for that TV?
It's a Mac, so I would need a. Thing.
Did they have-
Well, I'll tell you what, let me do this. Can everybody hear me? Is it? Yeah, it's, there we go. Okay, good, thank you.
The input probably needs to be switched. Is there a remote for the TV? I can get you up on the screen, but it won't be on Zoom. That's okay. We just need to convey the information.
Yeah, there are some images that I think will be helpful
Yeah.
to everybody. And I can send this, if you have like a team or something that you keep material on, I can send this after. So, okay. Great. Well, thank you for having us here to speak about this important university issue today. I'm Jill Cooley. I am a professor of history, but I am also part of a leadership team for the Faculty Association, which is the faculty union on the campus. And I am 1/3 of that leadership team. Dan Crone-Mills, who had to step out briefly for another meeting, and then Rochelle Fuller are the other professors who are part of this leadership team. I wanted to particularly present to you today, however, because my department, History and Gender Studies, has 2 faculty who have been retrenched. Out of 7 this year, we expect more next year, although that hasn't been announced yet. And so this is a particularly urgent issue, I think, for all of us, but especially for me and my department and the students in my department, is a particularly urgent issue as well. So a few things I want to talk about is basically how we got to this point, what has been the process so far, and then I'll end with a couple of comments on why this is important to students, what kind of effect retrenchment this year and possibly next year, possibly year after that, we don't know for sure yet. But what kind of effect that can have on students and on your education here. I want to start with a few definitions just to make sure some of these you may be familiar with, but some of them may be new to you. As I said, the Faculty Association, we call it FA for short, is the union here. We are part of a state union called the Interfaculty Organization, or IFO for short. So if you see those acronyms in this presentation, you'll know what those mean. The contract just references our university, or our union contract with the university. Retrenchment, of course, is what we're talking about here today, and it is essentially the layoff. In any other situation, you would call it faculty layoffs. But retrenchment is the contractual word, and so I use that word throughout the presentation. And then, of course, Meet and Confer is that monthly meeting that we have with the university administration to discuss issues of common interest to both parties and to the rest of the university community. And the reason why I put this up here is just because some of the, I'm a historian, so I cite my sources, and you'll see Meet and Confer minutes as kind of the sources for some of the quotations that you'll see in this presentation. So I've already defined retrenchment for you, but I'll give you a little bit more of the contractual process for retrenchment. So the university administration, when they are deciding on retrenchment and which faculty members to lay off, they start by targeting particular programs. And then each program has a seniority roster, and whoever has the lowest seniority in that program is the one who is retrenched. So it's really the decision-making level of how they decide who to retrench is really at that program level. Which program are we going to target for retrenchment? Layoffs under the contractual language are only allowed in certain situations. I didn't put the entire contractual language here, but it's basically when there are budget cuts that are necessary due to, and this is obviously a quotation from the contract, when there are program changes, enrollment shifts, or legislative mandate. And I will tell you the language that the university administration seems to be hanging their hat on for this retrenchment is that enrollment shifts, and I will explain later how they're defining that, basically, or how I think they're defining that. So retrenchment, the process, they have to announce it early in the fall. There's like there's a specific number of weeks after the fall semester starts. I think it's 2, I'd have to refer to the contract. But basically by late August or September, they announce retrenchment by program, and then they will send the individual faculty member who's at the lowest in the seniority, an individual letter informing them that they have been retrenched. The affected faculty work the rest of the academic year, but come May, they leave and, they don't come back the following year. And then these faculty are not replaced. So it's not like we can hire new faculty. We can't replace them with adjuncts or fixed term or so contingent faculty or with a permanent tenure track replacement either. So what happened this year? Well, last spring, and this is another part of the contractual requirement that the semester before they actually have to announce that there will be retrenchments, but at that point we don't know which programs it will affect. As late as spring of 2025, the president assured us, the faculty, in Meet and Confer, that there would be no layoffs planned unless budget shortfalls persist. And then at a subsequent Meet and Confer, basically saying the similar, announcing that there will only be layoffs essentially if there are budget shortfalls. In fall of 2025, so when we came back for this academic year, President Inch announced that the university's budget there was no budget shortfall, that the deficit had been closed through actions of the administration. And basically the quote was, "We are okay." Obviously, there was a much longer statement with that. But the way that they closed that budget shortfall it wasn't really the administration, it was actually all of you and your constituents who helped close that budget shortfall Of course, you know, we had a tuition raise of 8%. And then fall enrollment was up 2%. So it's the students, of course, where we get most of our income as a university, and it's the students who are, you know, paying in order to try to do away with that budget shortfall. There were some other cuts that the administration made as well in getting to that point, but they did not announce any austerity measures. There was no hiring freeze put in place. As a matter of fact, as they were announcing that 7 of my colleagues and faculty would be retrenched, they were also announcing that there would be 37 new hires approved, that there had been 37 new hires approved, and that the budget was balanced without further drawing down campus reserves. Also in the fall of 2025, the university announced the retrenchment of 7 faculty. And again, based on just informal conversations we've had, we expect there to be more retrenchments next year, although the provost's office has told us that they're not actively planning that right now. So we'll see. But this year, the programs targeted for retrenchment were identified by a frankly complicated formula. I'll show you the formula in a minute. Never used before in strategic budgeting. Obviously, faculty has been actively involved in strategic budgeting across the, you know, the entire time I've been here. I'm sure it predates me coming here. But they've never used this formula before. It was a new formula for all of us. And the important part about this formula is faculty have been unable to duplicate their results. And that's important for those of you who have had the opportunity to engage in research, peer-reviewed research. You'll understand that that is kind of the heart of academia, is I can't get something published, any other of my colleagues can't get anything published unless their, you know, their results are peer-reviewed and unless they can be duplicated. So this is really, in our experience, the formula that they've used in order to determine which programs will be subject to retrenchment is kind of outside of our experience in how they've done this. This is a quotation. I'm not going to read it. It's kind of complicated. I'm taking this information and the information on the next slide from information that the administration, Vice Provost Michelle Masali sent to my department chair to respond to my department chair's request for the administration to explain why 2 faculty members from our department are being retrenched. And this is the information that Vice Provost Masali sent to us. Starting here, and then this is the formula. So if you look at, and this is kind of the bottom line, I think, of their decision. It's a ratio that basically looks at the credit hour production that our majors, not, you know, all of the students taking our classes, the credit hour production that our majors are producing divided by how many faculty we have, essentially, is the bottom line here. And what they're telling us is that when they did that calculation, our 2 programs, Gender and Women's Studies and History, were in the bottom 4th quartile of the college. And then for astronomy, for political science, and for in civil engineering. Thank you. For civil engineering, the same calculation was used. There was a little bit of a different issue with business administration, but I will focus mostly on what the majority of faculty were retrenched under. If you don't understand this formula, or what much of this says, don't worry. Frankly, when the faculty looked at it, as I said earlier, this is not a formula that's been used in the past to base retrenchment on. It's a formula that focuses essentially on how many majors you have. So it ignores the hundreds of students that we teach in, or probably more than hundreds, that these programs teach in any given year in general education. And so it really hits those programs that maybe have more general education students than they have majors, much harder. So why is this happening? And I put the shrug picture up there because frankly, we have asked the administration since August, really, will you please give us all of your data? We have partial data. We have things like, you know, how many majors they think each program has, which frankly, the faculty in each program differ with the administration on that. But what we don't have some of these other numbers, and we don't have the way the formula worked out in each program. We don't have any understanding of what other programs are in the fourth quartile and what qualitative factors may have made a difference. Because of course, by definition, a quarter of all the programs in the college are going to be in the fourth quartile. Even a historian can understand that much math. So, you know, there's a real lack of transparency surrounding the data. What we do know is statements. Yes.
Before we begin, could you please concentrate on the motion on hand that we have right now regarding the resolution?
Okay.
Shorten this presentation a bit more.
Well, I can get to the effect this will have on students. That seems like it would be very relevant to your resolution. Basically, how this affects students, you know, faculty are resources for students, right? When you have an issue with your class or your program, you don't go to the provost's office, you go to your professor as your first step. In disciplines subject to retrenchment, there will be fewer classes, fewer advisors, fewer high impact practices, fewer concurrent enrollment opportunities for our students who are still in high school, fewer extracurricular activities, fewer opportunities for student research. This will have a significant effect on general education. Students will have fewer choices. And in informal conversations that we've had with the administration, many of them have told us they think that students are confused, that they have too many choices when it comes to general education. And as you can see from it hitting gender and women's studies, history, political science, it really has a big effect on those programs and those classes that teach DEI. There will also be some fields, as Cole mentioned, that just frankly won't be taught at all. Latin American studies, Latin American history. We have one Latin American historian. That's an entire, basically an entire hemisphere of the globe, practically. Public administration, the political scientist who is being retrenched has a master's in public administration, and there are classes in our catalog that only she is qualified to teach. And then astronomy, we have an observatory on this campus, and you know, there's 2 faculty in astronomy. One of them is nearing retirement, so you know, will astronomy classes be available to students in the future?
You have 1 minute remaining.
1 minute. Okay, well, this is the end, really. There's a letter that, or an email that my chair sent to the provost's office, really questioning the effect that this will have on general education. I'm not going to read that for you, but again, I will send this PowerPoint presentation. These are just excerpts from that email. I'm happy to send you the whole email. if you'd like that too. Again, really just emphasizing what is at stake, for students and for your education here. If these retrenchments are allowed to go forward, especially with the lack of transparency and, the lack of financial, necessity that is required. So thank you for your time. Do you have any questions?
Unfortunately, we can't take questions right now before we move into discussion. So first of all, are there any points of motion on? Yes, Senator.
Motion to move to discussion.
Second, seconds, all those in favor to move into discussion, please raise your back hand. All those against. Seeing none, it's the majority. We pass the motion to move into discussion. All those against.
Motion to amend the resolution for what we discussed. today.
So all the amendments are done during the discussion period only. So we will continue with that during the discussion. So we are in discussion, right?
Yeah,
Oh, you're raising another.
yeah, motion to amend the resolution to what was presented today and what was presented during the committee meeting.
Any seconds?
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your back hands. All right, all those against. Start the documents. Yes.
Just procedurally, you've amended the motion which was presented last meeting last semester, or that meeting last semester. These amendments have now been passed, correct? And so that is now your main motion on the floor for discussion.
Oh, so the amended one is the main motion.
That is the main motion now.
So do you wanna raise another motion? Yeah, but these guys. Yes.
Motion for discussion.
Yes.
Point of information,
Yes,
actually, now we are automatically in discussion or debate on this topic. Any motion can be brought up at this point in time. It needs a second on most cases, or we can just raise points of discussion in general.
thank you, but I still like someone to raise the placard so that I can note down their name and we can start speaking. Senator. Senator Johnson, followed by Senator Zellmer. All right, Senator Dietrich, followed by Senator Zellmer. All right.
This may be a factor, that because I haven't been able to sleep since Sunday night. Are we talking about Senator Wickersham's amendments, the series of amendments that were proposed earlier? And if so, do those have to be discussed?
So we are in discussion right now, and in this discussion, anything can be addressed. You can start the amendment. Yes, Senator.
Point of clarification, can we bring up the amended version that we are discussing about right now?
It is currently up. This is the amended version.
Oh,
Yes.
Is this it's just so that I can make sure, I want to make sure people have access to this in the Senate meeting Teams folder. Is this the version that was emailed out today?
No.
Can somebody please send me directly so that I can put in that Teams folder so that you can all have access on it, your computer, okay? Send me the amended version that you're talking about right now, please.
Wait, how many of you have access to the amended version of this? No one?
Request for clarification, Mr. Speaker, could you ask the author if the email, if the agenda, if the resolution that was sent out in the agenda email chain today is the amended resolution with the amendment that was just proposed by.
Alright, I'll just clarify, the agenda, the resolution that was sent with the agenda was not the amended version. This, right now, that we are seeing is the amended version, which will be accessible to everyone in a second. And everybody can have a look at it. Is it clear?
Alright, so
Senator Zimmerman. Yeah.
Okay, so, I kind of stated most of my main concerns about this resolution during committee. And then also hearing from our faculty association, I believe it was called for that we, kind of condemn all retrenchment. I think that's not exactly our thing, is that can be in their contracts. So condemning future retrenchment can affect the universities needing to have money, as I brought up, and how it can be kind of like in correlation when retrenchment is needed by a university to survive. It's not our job to have that in. That should be a faculty association contract thing. And then I also believe that a better resolution would be how the university handles retrenchment rather than condemning it. I think the university did very poorly on this retrenchment, and I think that we should have a resolution, instead of this, a resolution about working with these professors and their futures and how do they find positions after this, making sure that they are okay mentally, just kind of that, rather than a condemning of it.
So I was a student of one of the named 7 professors. It is Professor McCutcheon. He is a professor of Latin American history. Prior to coming to MNSU, I had little to no knowledge of Latin American history, and the amount that I learned in his course was incredible. I am so grateful that I took his course and that I had the opportunity to learn from him. He was the type of professor that makes you want to do more in your course and want to learn. And so for that reason, I will be supporting this resolution today. However, I do want to mention one thing that was brought up during the presentation. They emphasized right now that it's impacting general. However, I also know that there is currently a plan to redo generals for a few years in the future. We do have someone in the room if they would like to talk about that. I won't make them, but I know that there is plans to drastically overhaul the current general's program, and so I'm almost wondering if administration has been planning some of this with the intention that the generals will be cut later. But it seems odd to me that they are not explaining that, or if there is a reason why that has not been shared by them. If there's anyone with knowledge about that, it would be greatly appreciated to have here today, since we are discussing this important issue.
Here's Senator Teacher, Senator Frost.
I would just, like to, again, for the full Senate, specifically address Senator Zelmer's points about, the fact that this is condemning all retrenchment and, just his points overall about this. I personally, again, do not believe this is condemning all retrenchment. I think it's very specific to the retrenchment we're seeing this year. And I think any attempt to use it in the future would not be taken seriously because it is clearly talking about retrenchment this year. But if that is a concern, I invite him to motion an amendment to include the year that is currently that we are currently in the title. If that is extremely important, I invite him to do that. I would also like to just touch on condemning that we should be doing something else, but not condemning it. We should kind of be working with faculty. That I didn't understand how that was different from what we are doing, other than people would still lose their jobs, which I think for the reasons we've seen here is not a good thing and does not benefit students or professors or anyone at this university. So I think that's
Thank you, Vice President Kapil.
Thank you so much for coming, and I do respect the resolution, and I will be passing a yes vote as well, but I do have a couple of comments and a couple of questions. There's gonna be a lot of questions, so please be patient with me. Firstly, a comment about tuition increase. I completely forgot to mention that in my report. There was an 8% tuition increase this year, yes, but administrators are also planning on having another tuition increase for next year, which would be either 3%, 5%, or 7%, I believe, and they are planning on going for 5%. And again, student government is completely against that. We do not want any tuition increase because another 5% or another 3% after that 8% is not fair for students. Now, going on to a lot of questions for you guys. Firstly, is there a certain resolution like this that has been passed by faculty association? If I could have it.
Are we supposed to answer that? Okay. The question one says, is there a resolution like this that has been passed by the faculty association? Condemning.
I would like to yield my time to the gallery.
Thank you. Now, please.
Okay, we haven't had a formal, resolution process the way you have, but, we condemn retrenchment at every meeting. We talk about the, ways that, you know, the data that we need from the administration. So yeah, the faculty association is definitely against this.
And the faculty association has filed a grievance, which is a right in our contract. That grievance goes first to our provost. He said, "Psh." Went to the president, he said, nope. Now it's with Chancellor Scott Olson. He will most likely say no. And then it will go to an arbitrator. By the time that happens, everybody that has been fired, the academic job market ends usually in January. So if you've been fired, you are out of luck for next year, or pretty much already.
Hold on. So, while I, as an individual, do respect this resolution and will be passing a yes vote, and I do recognize all the efforts that have been made by faculty association, I do have another question. When there's a situation, if like us as students need it, will faculty association be willing to say, we do not support tuition increase at all? This is for students, because as student government, we are completely supporting faculty and association and decision against retrenchment. Can I expect the same support from faculty association if there will be a tuition increase and we're at a point where we will be needing support from faculty association?
Can I answer now or? Okay.
Senator Zellman.
The answer to that question
Please,
is,
you're not recognized.
Just to add to, Vice President Davenport, can we have that be a written thing as well, that if you're going to support a no tuition increase, have that be written?
Can someone look at their interest?
Yield to the gallery.
Thank you. Yes.
okay. The answer to that question, whether faculty associations will support students similarly, is a wholehearted yes. And I have an example. At our faculty association executive committee meeting last semester, we, after you had taken your vote opposing tuition, raises again, the faculty association voted, to support the student stance on that issue. So we are certainly, I mean, we feel ourselves really very much in alliance with our students. And that, you know, continues through our relationship with the students.
And a final comment, I'm sorry for reading.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. The Vice President has not received the floor.
Yes, you have not been recognized, so please wait until you're recognized from next time. Senator Hilson.
Motion to limit speaking time to 1 minute per person.
Second.
Any dissent? All those in favor, please raise your card. All those against? From now on, the time limit for anyone speaking is a minute. Senator Rugerstrom.
Motion to amend the motion by striking the title, the resolution to condemn retrenchment, and replacing it with the resolution to condemn retrenchment in academic year 2025.
Second.
Did I do that right?
Did it say 25?
2025-26.
As a friendly amendment. Any seconds? Second. Any dissent? All those in favor of this amendment, please raise the placard. All those against? Alright, simple majority, this one. Any other speakers? Senator Frost, followed by Senator Hillcock, followed by VP Copley, followed by Senator
Motion to amend the first be it resolved clause. To say retrench instead of entrench. So there's a spelling error there, that means. And in that same one, I like the motion to change qualified citation to other cause in public litigation.
Second. Any dissent? All those in favor, please raise your placard. All those against? The majority is yes.
Can I just ask who's tracking this for us so that I don't have an editable version? Or I do have an editable version. Okay. My bad.
Senator Hillcock.
I just wanted to raise a point of information for anybody that isn't aware, the motion to limit the rights of the speakers is only on debate. It cannot be used to limit amendments or other motions other than just for the one that we're on. So you can only limit 1 minute per person when they are debating the topic, not when they are making the motion.
Can I yield to John to verify that's true?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to do something else.
Vice President Captain.
Okay, my final comment, yes, while we do recognize that, and we would love to have more meetings with faculty association regarding this resolution, but unfortunately, the entire of last semester, I have been reaching out to faculty association for over 5 times. I've sent an email, my manager has sent an email, and we have not got a single reply from them, and therefore we haven't had a single meeting with faculty association, and we would love to have that this semester. So if you could pass on to your leaders to please respond to those emails and set up a meeting with us, we would love to do that.
Thank you so much. Senator
Just a point of information, has there ever been a retrenchment of an admin position? And I yield to anybody who could answer that. If that has happened before.
Is there anyone in the gathering with that?
I don't think that's,
You have not recognized them.
I would say recognize anybody. to answer. I recognize any.
I don't think that's possible because administration is the ones making the decisions on retrenchment, so they would not retrench themselves.
Out of order, we can't confirm or deny that statement. It would be.
Recent human living.
Oh, yes.
The contracts for administrators are different and don't include retrenchment. Administrators are at-will employees, and so at any point can be not renewed and continued, generally at the president's discretion. So it's just a different format of reduction in force than the retrenchment process in the faculty contract.
The question, Senator
Yeah.
Senator
Yeah, I hate to be the Debbie Downer. Let me start by saying I will be voting in favor of this resolution, but let me get into it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems I'm in agreement with the bill authors that the administration's reason for making this decision was purely economic and in the pursuit of making more money. So my question is this: what changes if we pass this? It seems the professors, the students, and even the press. Heck, on my way to this meeting, I passed by some campus chipmunks talking out against retrenchment. I just fail to see how adding our voice to the choir will be the tipping point that makes the administration's heart grow 3 times as big, if everything else has fallen on deaf ears. I would love some clarification on that. And I would yield to the gallery if they can answer that.
So a part of what Mavericks for Change does, this organization does, is it tries to fill the gaps on issues that perhaps the student government isn't addressing, because you guys are busy with a lot of the practical budgetary aspects of keeping the wheels of the university turning. I respect that a lot. And the reason that I put so much faith in you guys to pass this resolution, and I think it would be impactful that you did, is because as student leaders, as activists, as representatives of your students, it is your obligation to represent their best interest. And it is because you do that job with such confidence that your words have weight. So I just want to say the institution of student government is equally as important in the decision-making process as any other. And that is why we would find it impactful if you did pass this resolution.
Senator Burton.
Motion to amend the motion by striking in the third whereas clause to implicated with affected and recommendations to subvert the administration's impending decision with input or consultation with the student government.
Any seconds?
Second.
Any dissent? All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those against? The simple majority is there. Senator Zellmer.
Speaker, if I may, if you've got to be tracking these, because I didn't catch that at all. So somebody's got to be updating the document or receiving these proposals in writing. I can't keep up with that.
Will you please repeat your amendment?
Yes. In the third whereas clause, the phrase to implicated is replaced with affected. And the phrase recommendations to subvert the administration's impending decision is.
Will you go back?
Yes. The phrase to implicated is replaced with the phrase with affected.
Yes.
And the phrase recommendations to subvert the administration's impending decision is replaced with input or consultation with the student government.
All right, thank you. Senator Zellmer.
Motion to postpone.
Second.
Any dissent? All those in favor to vote on this motion? All those against it? Simple majority, this daily passes, this resolution is postponed in the next meeting. We now move forward with announcements. Are there any announcements? Yes, Senator Reyes, all reply, Senator.
Can I call for division of the house? I don't know if that was supposed to be done. We revote.
Point of information, a division of the assembly has been called, that is requesting a re-verification of the vote. And they are asking for you to state the number in the affirmative and the number in the negative and the number in the abstention.
For the current vote, right? All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those against? All those abstain? For the current motion to postpone this resolution into next week, we have 15 yes votes, 6 no, and 0 abstain, which means this motion clearly passes.
Thank you.
We now move forward to announcement. Yes, Senator Cross.
I would just like to say I'm extremely disappointed in my fellow senators. We've already spent a long time debating this. We are very close to being done, and I'm extremely disappointed in you guys for postponing this to the next meeting. This is an issue that we need to address as student government, and the fact that y'all are willing to be more tired, but then go sit through a 10-hour budget meeting, you're willing to do that, but not spend 10 more minutes
on this resolution, that is incredibly disappointing to me, and I am honestly deeply ashamed of what this body just did, and I would like to yield to the gallery.
Thank you.
I
also want to-
Sorry, speaking general, and recognize first, during announcements.
No. Well, then I'll continue. I'm incredibly
Senator, there's
disappointed.
not an announcement.
Yes, it is. I'm announcing that I'm disappointed with this body's work. And I have 5 minutes to be recognized, and you know what? I think I will use my entire 5 minutes of time if people want to skirt this.
Thank you so
body.
much, Senator, please, maintain the decorum. Please,
What?
maintain the decorum, please.
I am.
Any other announcements? Yes, Senator, Nguyen.
I'll be hosting Great Appeals Workshop Tuesdays and Thursdays next week, 6 to 7 p.m. Through 12 on CS.
Any other announcements? Yes, Ms. Ron.
This is ridiculous. What are we doing?
Senator, please.
What are we doing here?
Senator.
What are we doing?
Senator.
We're not passing things.
Senator.
Every other piece of legislation has. What the hell is this?
Senator, please leave the room.
This is ridiculous. This institution is a joke.
Senator.
This accomplishes fucking nothing. It's useless.
Keep it calm, get some blood, air. Not your mind.
Oh yeah, got you. Useless. You all are useless.
Senator.
This body is useless.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Welcome back, Senate. It's good to see you all. Welcome to the beginning of a new semester. We know that we have hit the ground running. And as noted several times, that there have been some difficult things that have happened over the past month since we've last gathered. And so I encourage you to, again, utilize resources that are available to students on campus. I'm included as one of those resources as your advisor. Just a few updates. Over the break, at the last meeting prior to the break, Senator Reyes mentioned that election information was ready. We do have information ready. We are waiting on IT Solutions to complete the update of the election website, but the student government candidacy application is available for all students. And so know that that is on the Math Life page for student government as well. This semester, we have a lot coming up, especially pertaining to university budgets. I visited with Cabinet today, and on February 11th, I will be giving the Senate a 10,000-foot view of the student fee process. We'll talk about the different fees that will be discussed, and because the following week is when you have the first fee presentation before you, when one of the groups will come and present their fee request and proposal for next year. So I'll be doing that on February 11th. The following week, as I mentioned, the presentations start, and then on February 25th, during committee meetings, we will take a deeper dive into the student activity fee in particular. We'll talk about what that looks like, what those requests are going to look like, and then the following week, the Student Allocations Committee will present that budget recommendation to you. So that Wednesday before spring break is when that will happen. For the academic senators around the table, I did send out emails to all of the academic deans today, confirming with them the accurate list of who their current senators are, as well as where there are vacancies. And so that information did go out. And I did note in those emails that the current sitting senators would be reaching out to touch base with them here at the beginning of the semester. So if you're an academic senator, be sure you are reaching out to the appropriate dean for your constituency group. So please take advantage of that. A couple of things in my fraternity sorority life pack tonight, starting in about 6 minutes. There is a welcome back social where interested students can meet and mingle with fraternity sorority members, grab a brownie or Rice Krispie treat and all of that kind of stuff. Next Thursday night, in conjunction with the A Board and with the International Student Association, we're hosting Welcome Back Bash. There will be free bowling and billiards from 7:30 to 10:30 PM in the bullpen. And that is also at the same time as the Serendipity Karaoke Series that Lenny Copel hosts weekly. And so there will be a whole bunch of activity going on in the event in the bullpen that night. We also have several events for student activities coming up over the course of next week. This tomorrow night, there is the Top Gun Maverick movie being shown. And then next week we have ice skating happening, weather pending, okay? If we get frozen enough to freeze a skating rink, there'll be an outdoor skating rink on campus. And we'll have some reindeer on campus next Thursday and that kind of stuff too. So lots of stuff going on. We also have the registration for the student leadership retreat that'll take place the first weekend of February. That is open as well for students to take advantage of. So like I mentioned, lots of stuff. I'm trying to think, next Thursday night, there's also a RSO fair in Prescott taking place. So please take advantage of the opportunity. I would encourage students, student government to sign up to be at that tabling opportunity. So I'm also going to step back into my student government advisor hat here. What you had was just a difficult meeting. I encourage you to engage in dialogue with each other outside of this. I also encourage you to think about legislation that comes forward and encourage you to talk through that with each other before even bringing it to this table, so that you can try to iron out some of those thoughts and suggestions and see if it can be discussed before coming to this body for a discussion. That helps with efficiency. It helps with understanding of what's being proposed and talked about. And so I would really highly encourage you to have conversations regarding legislation that comes forward. Iron things out so that coming to this meeting, it's ready to go. Okay. I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Do you have any other amendments? Yes.
Hello everyone, I would like to know, so you have, so plans are going to have, coordinator-led events happening next week. We'll announce this next week as well, Southwest Cornell Library on Thursday. From 3 to 4 p.m. we have conversations led by coordinator Josh. And we'll also have the town hall for library services. Four to five, absolutely. And that's fine. And also, I know it has a long meeting and ruling time as well. I will ask y'all to stay in your seats 2 minutes after the meeting ended. I do have a gift for y'all for holiday season, and I have a pale recipe for cookies and letters for y'all. So do give me a hot second to hand out to y'all after Senate meeting. That's really appreciated.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other announcements? All right, seeing no announcements, we move forward with our roll call. Senator Algar.
Here.
Senator Hyber.
Here.
Senator Cobble. Senator Dietrich.
Here.
Senator Reyes.
Here.
Senator Bartlett.
Here.
Senator Wynn.
Present.
Senator Anderson.
Here.
Senator Zelmer.
Present.
Senator Cummings.
Present.
Senator I.
Present.
Senator Hilda.
Present.
Senator Isaac. Senator Howard.
Here.
Senator Johnson.
Here.
Senator Stokes.
Present.
Senator Hesketh.
Present.
Senator Wu. Senator Frost. Senator Wickershaw. Senator Ray.
Here.
Vice President Happy.
Present.
President Coyle.
Present.
And Speaker Buckles. Thank you so much, everybody.
Mr. Speaker, real quick, this isn't an announcement, but just a logistical thing. In the Teams folder with resources for today's meeting, the version of the resolution in there that is labeled amended is the current version, as you've amended it, okay? So it's where they stand right now. And I also was asked to share the PowerPoint with you from our guest. It's in the folder as well.
Thank you so much for that information. Also, so did you catch all the amendments?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you so much. Is there any 5:58 p.m. and I call this meeting adjourned? Thank you.
Oh, Jax, stay seated.
Andrew.
That was a holiday.
Wait, how come you didn't yell at him? He stood up.
Hi, Jake Stevens.
Last one, you guys said something about the resource of the citation. I didn't catch that.
Them during the academic meeting.
You sent me that first.
Yeah, it's usually out.
So that's the one that's in there. Yes, so I gotta say right here. I changed. And the second one is something about.
I'm gonna assume that's you.
Citation, and I can't. And I.
No, my last name is still Bola.
Oh.
Actually, that is not.
Are you the one passing out?
This is from Resident 3.
Oh.
You need to get it.
Hi, would you
Josh
click your
to
first
join.
meeting?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Did the crowd try to change your vote?
Well, I was this close to abstaining. Maybe you considered friendly.
I think I saw.
Anything that hasn't substantively changed.
I'm really
Good.
Thank you.
It happens as be a friend.
Oh, you're fine.
Theoretically, they couldn't refer to all the. I say this that in my respect, that's how I do it. They can make friendly about it.
I mean, it's like.
Whatever that second. I didn't.
That was.
Okay, so you asked me about.
Okay, I'll reach out to this week now.
It's not gonna. Yeah, I wouldn't make. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was
There's no insane.
Oh, but I said,
I don't know what I'm
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, but isn't it, I think my.
Put a nail in the
I was assuming it was.
This is the bridge. This is, yeah. You're saying that we have enough resources, we're gonna share the resources with this guy.
I don't know.
But there is this gap, you see this gap? I act as a mediator. And this guy to this guy, they recognize.
Like I said, if it's substantive, people might want to think of They changed, whatever, the one that he suggested, where I said, slow down.
It's just, when you're doing something.
Yeah.
I'm right. That's the icon.
Yeah, I put it in my.
He's just like. He has action, but like, you need to know. I don't.
I mean, think about it. Imagine you have this one extremely passionate, you've been pushing for. You waited all over break. You've probably been waiting for this. Finally comes, and you talk about it for an hour.
I want to cuss everybody out.
And then, oh, we're gonna push, we're gonna, right, and like, it's almost, and then you're being better. Obviously.
With the exception of that, we're nothing at.
Yeah, I have no idea why.
That would be annoying. That would be frustrating. You can't even talk. That would be frustrating. Valid crash out, but like, you gotta ignore people aware.
Dish crash out. I would have said dish crash, I would have been.
That is not like an answer, I guarantee.
Oh, it is.
Find a job, send it in a research.
You'd be very good to say.
Capturing the screen. And be like. It'll get uploaded. No, I'm.
No, next year I'll bring it.
I think so many.
Why, as our student manager, should be involved with this resolution? Yes. We are, when we have the main op. Bob should. Opted rate. Bob, I have all respect for him. Bob. Do it, yes. But people. And then we closed phone and I was like, all right, yeah, I can think about it. All the. And then
There's a
he
reason
crashed
why.
out. And that was right here. That's my no, that's my yes, my no is right here. You're not getting me out of that sentence.
Y'all think like that in any situation, it should not be raised.
I want him in for. And then we told him. Yeah. Unfortunately, nobody knows.
And I know.
So I could stop it.
Yeah,
I would.
That's it, I would, hey.
Looking forward to it.